Cryptotrader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.
This week, Cryptotrader comes to you from the 2019 Bitcoin conference right here in San Francisco. When we started our coverage, the market was trading at about 10,000. It's since gone up over 13,000 and then come back down. But what is going on? Tune in to find out.
What sparked the Bitcoin run? Facebook's Libra coin announcement? Institutional buying? We'll examine both. What sparked the first sell-off? Subsequent bounce back past 12,000 and Sunday into Monday's first pullback? Profit taking? Hedging? One thing's for sure, the rise and falls are sharp again, but sentiment remains bullish, at least according to the traders right here on the floor at Bitcoin 2019. But to start off, let's check out the conference keynote with headline maker Edward Snowden, who was asked by conference organizer David Bailey two important questions.
You know, in this day and age, it seems like no one has any privacy. How is it possible that we still have no idea who Satoshi is? And what does that tell us about Satoshi?
This is one of the most interesting parts of the Bitcoin story, which is why we're still talking about it all these years later. And the thing that I love about it is the story that it tells us OPSEC works, right? Operational security. If you're careful, if you learn how the system works better than the people who are exploiting it to harm you, better than the people who built it, right? You can use it in ways that actually work to your advantage, even though you don't own it, right? You still can have privacy, right? And this is the problem. Right now we live in a world where privacy is for the professional, it's for the expert, it's for the rich, it's for the elite, it is for the privileged. But we can't live in a free world where privacy is a privilege. Privacy has to be a right. It has to be accessible to everyone if it's going to actually matter.
So one more question for you. This is perhaps the most important question. Is Edward Snowden a Bitcoin hodler?
So, as a privacy advocate, I would encourage anyone, if they're ever asked, to deny having any cryptocurrency whatsoever. But I will say this, while I won't say whether I have Bitcoin or anything else, right? The servers that I used to transfer disinformation to journalists, because I didn't want these records connected to my name when I understood how the system of mass surveillance worked, they were paid for using Bitcoin. So hey, Bitcoin had a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wow, that must be the first standing ovation we've seen at a crypto conference. That's just a glimpse into Snowden's wide-ranging thoughts on liberty and privacy. To see more, check out our YouTube channel where we'll have his full keynote.
That's Edward Snowden from the Bitcoin 2019 conference right here in San Francisco. If you want more content from CNBC, hit the subscribe button now. So that's the main stage and that's where everything's taking place. But really the big highlight here is the rooftop, and that's where everything's happening. And if you look at the rooftop, the mood is, well, bullish. Let's see who's here. Let's take a look. I mean, you've got the fluffy pony.
In person this time.
How's it going, brother? Nice to see you in the USA in person. Everyone knows Samson, of course.
No, no one knows me.
No one knows him.
Samson the Lion.
Samson the Lion, yeah. Yeah, and that's the rooftop. I mean, there's live music going on here, and we're in the middle of San Francisco. The mood is bullish. Let's go back downstairs and talk to the headliners out here.
First up, let's talk to Pomp, who unbelievably so recently made a price prediction.
Never in my life did I think that Anthony Pompliano would jump into making price predictions. Tell me about this $100,000 price prediction.
Yeah, so look, in August last year, I basically came out and I said, Bitcoin's going to drop about 50% to 3,000, then it'll jump back up over 10. That's played out since August to about end of May, early June. And what I came out and said was $100,000 by December of 2021. And I think that we're generally headed to much higher highs. And so I felt like it was important to put that on public record.
Now you mentioned that you keep your personal wealth in Bitcoin, and I'm sure most of our viewers out there keep a lot of their personal wealth in Bitcoin. What percentage of your personal wealth today sits in Bitcoin?
I have no clue what the percentage is. What I can say is it's a material amount, and
more than half of your assets, your
probably.
net wealth.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and the thought process really is just as a store of value, right? You know, for people who sit their assets in cash or something else, it's just a very different asset, right? It has different kind of functions or criteria, and so if you believe this is a good store of value, I think that storing a piece of your wealth there is a good idea.
You know, there are a lot of people who talk about holding their assets in Bitcoin, but you've actually gone out and done that. Over 50% of your wealth is in Bitcoin. Now, I don't know many people that can actually really say that, even people in the crypto community. So that's a really big step.
My guess is that there's more people than you would imagine that do that.
And it's been a great pleasure having you. Thank you for some awesome insights.
Absolutely, I appreciate it so much.
One person who we bet is holding a whole lot of Bitcoin, Max Keiser. Just mention fiat currency to him, and this is what you'll get.
Let me explain something to you right now. Okay, here's a $10 bill. This is garbage. This is garbage. You people in South Africa, you have your rand, right? That's going to zero. That's going to zero. This is going to zero too. Euros are going to zero. The yen's going to zero. The Chinese currency is going to zero. It's all going to zero against Bitcoin. If you don't understand that yet, you're going to be impoverished. You're going to be on the street. You're going to be begging. You're going to be out of business. You're going to be toast.
Toast. Max is a permeable who's made quite a few price predictions all along.
One of the things I love most about this Bitcoin skyrocket is the fact that Max Keiser is at it again. He's tweeting again, and you can see he's got his energy back.
Yeah.
Max,
yeah.
You're happy again.
I'm feeling it in my veins. I feel it in my brain. I'm looking at 100,000 coming real soon. 28,000's in the bag. Bitcoin's eating into fiat. Bitcoin's destroying central banks. Bitcoin's destroying Jamie Dimon. Libra is a stalking horse. It's there to destroy fiat and put the spotlight on Bitcoin. And Bitcoin powers higher and higher, and the world becomes a peaceful, loving place, Rand.
Now can we start the interview?
Do it.
So Max, everyone's saying that this time the price rise is different. It's not like the same bull markets that we've had in the past. Do you agree that this one's different, or is this just a repeat of what we've seen before?
No, it's broader based. You know, anyone who's been in markets for any length of time knows you have bull markets, they achieve a price high, then there's some backing and filling, the base broadens, you got bigger players, more transactions, more use cases, more understanding, and now we've got the base in place to make a move to new all-time highs and probably 28,000 on this move.
Is this still retail, or is this now much more institutional, fund, etc.? And I use the word institutional quite loosely in this context.
I think it's mostly the big money at this point, and I think the family offices are buying it, hedge funds are buying it, institutions are buying it. Fidelity's making a big move into Bitcoin, eToro, and also TD Ameritrade. The retail market is still yet to come, although I am extremely impressed with what's happening with Jack Dorsey's Cash app. And once Bitcoin is like a disease. My friend Anthony Pump, he talks about Bitcoin as a virus, as a disease. Once you buy one, once you get into it, you can't stop because it takes over your thinking in a way. And that is the greatest thing it has going for it. Bitcoin's greatest strength is Bitcoin.
And he's got a message to Peter Schiff and the gold bugs. Listen up.
Peter Schiff in particular has been calling this gold run, and we actually have seen gold start moving up since January this year in response to exactly the things that you're talking about.
In my view, I think that Bitcoin made hard money fashionable again, and then people started looking at gold again. So the gold bugs have a debt of gratitude to the Bitcoin community.
You think Bitcoin caused the gold run, and not the gold run, not everything else caused the Bitcoin?
Bitcoin made
gold
hard
run.
money fashionable again. And in so doing, that halo effect has spilled over into gold.
But they're still having the bull run of their lives. They've had a 2% increase in the last 2 weeks. I mean, that's a big gold run.
I've seen your tweets, they're very funny. Every time gold's up $5, Rand's like, is this the exciting day of the month for gold? I mean, yeah, it's hilarious that they see a move above 1,400 as being indication of
buckle up. Buckle up. But gold's gone from 1,400 to 1,420. Buckle up.
Coverage of Bitcoin 2019 is brought to you by CGCX, the world's first crypto exchange that's insured against cyber attacks and hacks.
So we're here in San Francisco. It's the Bitcoin 2019 conference, and it's a huge conference with a lot of big names. Tim Draper dialed in earlier, Max Keiser's here, Anthony Pompliano's here, and really every big name in crypto. Even Satoshi Nakamoto. He's right here. So are you Satoshi Nakamoto?
I am, but I'm not the creator. I'm not the creator that made this Bitcoin possible.
So there's an Australian guy. His name is Dr. Craig Wright, and he claims that he is actually you.
I don't know Dr. Craig or anybody else, but definitely I'm not the creator of Bitcoin. I do appreciate the motivation behind the creation and also appreciate the fundamental aspect of blockchain.
So I agree with everything you've said, and you know, it's great to hear it from the mouth of Satoshi Nakamoto. Thank you very much.
Just behind us on stage here was Eric Voorhees, the OG Shapeshift founder, who says that this Bitcoin rally is no different from the previous ones.
Eric, it's gloomy out here, but the markets are flying, and you've seen this a million times before. Is this time different?
No. Bitcoin goes through speculative cycles, and it's just all part of how it ascends to taking over the global financial system. It's not going to be a straight line, so it goes through these cycles.
Are you surprised by the speed at which Bitcoin's gone from 6,000 to 13,000?
Yes, because the bottom or the depths of the market didn't last very long. I figured most of the year we were going to be in the $3,000 to $4,000 range, but we were only down there for a couple months, and now it's going crazy again. So markets are great at making fools of people, even those of us who are like very entrenched in the industry.
Now, a lot of people are saying that this time it is different. Why? There's the perfect economic storm, and there's a trade war,
say that every
and
time.
the elections are coming, and there's so many stories that we've heard as to why this time Bitcoin actually isn't going to come down. But we've been here for long enough to know that a pullback is inevitable. Do you think that it's time for a little bit of a breather?
Yeah, Bitcoin will fall again, and it'll rise again, and ultimately it's going to enter another large speculative bubble, and then it'll peak and crash, and everyone will say, Bitcoin's dead, and like the same thing will happen. All that has been done many times before, and those of us who've been through a few cycles just kind of deal with it and keep building.
Eric, it is raining here. One more quick question.
Sure.
Are we getting an altcoin run, or is this time just Bitcoin?
I mean, the whole asset class moves roughly in tandem. It's very correlated. So yeah.
But we haven't seen that correlation yet. Bitcoin is...
To some degree we have. Yeah, I mean, almost all alts are much higher than they were 6 months ago. And so I don't know what's going to rise the most and what will fall, but generally as an asset class, crypto assets move roughly together. So yeah.
What do you say we get out of the rain?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Thank you very much, Eric.
After the rain, the sun came out. Some more crypto cult figures enjoyed the time on the roof.
You're the guy from the New York Times article.
I am, correct, yes. Last year in 2017 for a Christmas party, I wear that for the Christmas party with Bitcoin, yep.
Have you taken off the sweater since?
No, I just wear it every day, so everyone recognizes me in the street. That's just awesome.
And do people actually recognize you from the article?
Yeah, sometimes. A lot of people told me to just don't wear it because last time I wear it, the price just went down and crashed. So I'm always afraid to wear it, but yeah.
So why don't you take it off?
No, I'm not. Well, also I can work for Bitcoin, because I really need to work for Bitcoin, so.
And also in that article was very early Bitcoin adopter Jeremy Gardner, co-founder of Ogre and San Francisco's Crypto Castle. Today, however, he's bullish on Facebook's Libra and even spearheading a team to get a node.
Uber, Lyft, MasterCard, Visa, Spotify, and now Jeremy Gardner. They all are getting Facebook nodes. Jeremy, do you really think that you're going to get a Facebook Libra node?
So you have to make a distinction between the Libra Association, which is these 28 big power players, including those guys, including Andreessen Horowitz, Union Square Ventures. That is the governance council for Libra, the ones that make all the determinations behind how it works. There's now 100 other nodes that are used to validate all the transactions in the network, and I want one of those 100.
Why do you want to run a node?
I think Libra could be the greatest catalyst for blockchain technology and crypto asset adoption that's ever existed. And furthermore, as someone who runs a social impact venture fund focused on the intersection of impact and blockchain technology, I want to help ensure that the network achieves that potential of being this truly socially beneficial tool.
Okay, let's then talk about Libra.
Yeah.
So Libra is going to have 2.5 billion users, or potentially 2.5 billion users.
Virtually overnight.
How are governments going to respond to this?
We've seen the alarmism. I'm actually surprised at how quickly they became alarmed. But the great thing about being a politician is that you can be alarmed about something that you're absolutely entirely uneducated on. And that's what we've seen from Congress so far. You know, Libra and the Facebook folks went out and they talked to regulatory bodies, they talked to central banks. They actually had these conversations beforehand, but not every single member of Congress was educated about that. Today.
10 years from today?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think strong currencies today will be strong currencies in 10 years. Weak currencies, on the other hand, could be totally eradicated. But by a combination of Libra, the dollar, and Bitcoin.
All right, well, enough of the serious stuff. We understand, and we sent our correspondent to visit the crypto castle in Miami.
She had a high level of journalistic integrity. She hammered me. I was very impressed. For your show.
Tell us about the new show.
So the new show is called the Crypto Castle Chronicles, Gonzo Gardner on YouTube, and it is really just capturing my life. So provide insight into my life, show me working with entrepreneurs, show me building my new startup, show me going out and having fun. I think it's really educational, it's really informative. I think people will really enjoy just having such an honest look at this crazy life I live.
Well done, it's such a pleasure having you on.
It's always a pleasure to be
on.
on.
Good luck in getting that Facebook note.
Hopefully they're watching.
Stay tuned to Jeremy, and staying tuned to market sentiment is our Silicon Valley contributor, Monica Putman.
We're here at Bitcoin 2019, and what we're looking at here is just an incredible mural taking a look at the entire ecosystem of Bitcoin. And then moving over here, we have the eToro Lounge, we have Cryptotrader in the back, and then from here we have the podcast room, and then we have the crypto store. And next to that, we have the media room, and over here we have a free Ross panel going on. Behind me, we have Lynn Ulbricht, Ross Ulbricht's mother, talking about Ross Ulbricht, and of course, the unfortunate circumstances. You know, he's in prison. He's fighting for his life. If you want to sign the petition, you can go to freeross.org or hashtag freeross. That's the second standing ovation we've seen today. Really powerful stuff. Let's go check out what's upstairs. New all-time high for you. Predictions? Do it.
The way it's going now, it might be next week. Who knows? I think maybe we could see an all-time high sometime this year.
And then what do you think is going to happen for the rest of the year?
18.5.
Maybe a couple dips in between?
Maybe, yeah. We'll see.
What about you? End of year prediction?
I'll go bold. 25.
You bet a Bitcoin on it?
No.
What's your prediction?
Well, I don't want to say prediction for the short term, but I do want to say that I think that there is great viability in Bitcoin and it will continue to grow.
I mean, the beauty in it is that it's volatile and weird, and we shouldn't act like we know everything because we don't. So, but if I had to say 18?
Yeah, I don't do price predictions, but
all right.
Adoption is happening. Yeah. People are interested in that, like, it's supply and demand.
Where do we go from here?
So it's happening faster than I thought it would happen, but definitely by the time, like sometime after the next halving, we'll hit peak Bitcoin, and it'll be $300,000 plus Bitcoin prices before we crash down to 50K, and everyone's saying Bitcoin is dead, you know. So it's just the same fractal pattern repeating every 4 years, basically.
Yeah. blockchain, not Bitcoin. We're going to start saying that again.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the energy here is great for obvious reasons. There's a lot of price stuff going on. So Tone is actually doing a podcast exactly about that right now.
I don't know what's going on. I think that
Was it Bitcoin 2019? Everybody was speculating it was coming here.
perhaps
I think after the Bitcoin 2019 conference,
You're
it's
gonna
not.
see
I think it's gonna flatten. I think it's gonna stabilize.
And almost right you were, my friend. It didn't just stabilize, it dropped with some bounces in between. Stay tuned for Cryptotrader after the break, where we'll see crypto really being used.
Simon and Joe both invest in stocks. Simon uses eToro to invest in stocks without paying commission. Joe has to pay his bank a commission every time he buys or sells a stock. Simon uses CopyTrader to replicate the portfolios of leading investors in real time. Joe gets investment tips from cousin Harvey. Laser discs. Simon can buy any stock he wants instantly with eToro's easy-to-use mobile app. Joe can trade on his mobile too.
Call is important to us. To speak to a banker, please stay on the line.
So why is Joe just as good an investor as Simon? He's not, because Simon uses eToro and Joe doesn't. Have you not been listening? Don't invest in stocks like a Joe, invest like a Simon. Download eToro and invest in stocks without paying commission.
Coverage of Bitcoin 2019 is brought to you by CGCX, the world's first crypto exchange that's insured against cyber attacks and hacks. Welcome back. One thing that's fueling the Bitcoin rally is usability. More and more projects, from software to hardware, are helping take crypto mainstream.
How good is it,
How
bro?
you doing, man?
Good, man.
You
Good.
good?
Good to see you. Let's do a selfie.
Let's do one.
Check it out. This is the phone I won from your Twitter
Oh, is
giveaway.
this the Finny phone?
The Serum Labs one, yeah. Check it out. It's got
What's the phone like?
Oh, it's great. I love the built-in hardware wallet.
So you're living off your Bitcoin?
Yeah, I'm all in on Bitcoin, and every day I have to figure out how do I get rid of Bitcoin and get goods and services like eggs, bread, milk, and rent.
So how do you do that? How do
I use Bitrefill. So that's one of the ways, like if I wanted to order Uber Eats or something like that, I use Purse.io if I wanted to order anything off of Amazon and save about 20 to 30%.
How long is this going to last you? How long can you keep living off your Bitcoin? Surely at some point it's going to run out?
So over time with Bitcoin volatility, I'm only going to be able to do it longer and longer.
Well, good luck with that, man. Nice to see you.
Much appreciated, man.
Nice
Have
to
a
see you,
day,
my
bro,
friend.
bro.
Aiming to tame volatility and scale usability is Loli, a rewards platform that you actually have to see to believe. Imagine you could buy the things that you typically buy. Imagine you could buy hotel rooms, rent cars, just buy things on the internet. And every time you bought something, you got a reward in Bitcoin. It seems like we don't have to imagine anymore because Alex over here says that, well, he's already doing it. Alex, tell me a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, so Loli is a very simple system. Basically, we give people Bitcoin when they shop online. We partner with top merchants, and when our users shop their sites, those merchants pay us, and then we pay people in Bitcoin. So we have over 750 merchants, Walmart, Booking.com, Hotels.com, Jet, Priceline, you name it.
Okay, now my audience is they're a bunch of skeptics. Okay, so I'm going to ask you all the tough questions that they would probably ask. So first of all, if I go to Walmart, I spend $100 at Walmart, how much do I get back in Bitcoin?
Right now, I think it's 3.5% back.
3.5%
yeah.
back.
So it's typically better than a lot of credit card point systems. And the thing that a lot of people don't realize is you get your credit card points and your Bitcoin with Loli. So it stacks on top of each other. You don't have to give up your points. You don't have to give up your cash back. You get Bitcoin on top of it.
Who is funding this 3.5%? Where is it coming from?
The merchants. So the merchants say, we want to attract a new customer. We have all of these users that love Bitcoin and they want Bitcoin more than anything else. And they're willing to say, not shop at Walmart so they can shop at Overstock.
And you even mentioned that you could go up to 40% back in Bitcoin.
Yeah, so 3.5% is one of our lower percentage back. The average percent back is 7% back across all of our merchants. And then I think our top merchant gives 45% back in Bitcoin. We love Bitcoin and we want to spread it with more people. We're on a mission to make Bitcoin accessible to everybody. And I believe that very few people are going to get into Bitcoin through mining or investing. And so what can you do to make something available to everyone?
Just give them rewards.
Yeah.
And how many people are actually using the platform at the moment?
A lot, tens of thousands.
And how many merchants have you got?
Over 900 right now.
And growing every day.
Every day, yeah. We just landed Hotels.com. They joined the platform. They were sort of holding out. We've had a few holdouts, and that was a really big moment.
Well, congratulations. Well, I know what I'm going to go and sign up because I want to get Bitcoin back. And I use Hotels.com. I use Booking.com all the time. So let me sign up and get some Bitcoin.
So that's usability and scalability for mass adoption. Lastly, let's close out with some expert perspective on market movements.
So as you know, I've been doing this TV gig for over 2 years now. And for 2 years, I've heard people tell me why I should buy Bitcoin and why I should buy several other altcoins. In the 2 years that I've been doing this, I've never met anyone who's articulated it as well as Brendan, who I've got over here. Brendan, welcome to Cryptotrader.
Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Tell me why I should buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, sure. So I don't think, unlike some people, I don't think it's an ironclad law of the universe that Bitcoin just increases in price. I think, like digital gold, its market cap is a product of geopolitical uncertainty and monetary bases around the world.
And we know that geopolitical stability is already on the increase.
Exactly.
Tell me how you see the world.
Sure. So I think in this post-Bretton Woods era with globalization breaking down as it is now, geopolitical instability is sure to rise. And right now, if you were to lock me in a room and ask me to design the perfect macro environment for Bitcoin, I don't think I could do a better job than what we have.
What is it? What are the things that are happening that are making you so convinced?
Sure. One of which that I think is most important is that we have the largest peacetime deficits in history right now. But if you add in our off-balance sheet liabilities, meaning our promises to baby boomers that are retiring, our debt goes from $20 trillion to $200 trillion. Simultaneously, the foreign buyers of our debt are slowing. China, since 2014, has no longer been buying our debt in as significant quantities as they were before that, and I think that's a big reason why there's a trade war right now.
So what will they do? They'll print more money.
Exactly. So what the government is going to have to do in response to these deficits that are unpalatable is ease. So the problem with that is we've been on QE Novocaine for 10 years. We've exhausted most of our monetary policy tools. So the monetary policy, to your point, might have to get very unorthodox. And probably the three best words for Bitcoin are unorthodox monetary policy. And I think that's going to happen. And as there's a fire hose of cheap money and fiat into the world, that tends to leak into scarce assets. And Bitcoin is the world's scarcest asset. It is the most scarce asset that has ever existed. Simultaneously, as we move to negative rates, people need a way to preserve their wealth. Negative rates literally mean that if you leave your money in a bank, you're losing money on an annual basis. They're taking that money. And in Japan, where it happened, we saw sales of safes actually skyrocket. Well, Bitcoin is the world's best safe. You can store it digitally with unbreakable cryptography. So it's simultaneously the world's scarcest asset and the world's best safe. And it should do tremendously in the next 10 to 20 years, in my opinion.
And that, my friends, is why you should buy Bitcoin.
So after all that, we're still hovering right here around the $11,000 level. What happens next?
That's it from the Bitcoin 2019 conference here in San Francisco. Next week, we'll be covering the Asia Blockchain Summit in Taiwan. Until then, I'll be on Twitter at CryptoManRun. And you should trade well, my friends.